I'm going to show you a really quick and delicious instant vegetarian lasagna. And for this recipe, I'm using the Simply Better buffalo milk ricotta and spinach ravioli. So I got to meet this producer in Italy when I was over there over 3 years ago, and to hear them talking about their passion for pasta, their love of ingredients. These are delicious, and what I like about these is that there's a really lovely shelf life. I'll just cut into one and I can just show it to you. So that's the filling there. So that's the buffalo milk ricotta, and there's spinach in that. So we're going to do a very, very simple, quick recipe. I think you're going to enjoy this. I love these if I just literally cook them in a little bit of boiling salted water, a little bit of butter, some kind of like butternut squash kind of cooked off with some balsamic vinegar and some maple syrup, and then toasted pine nuts and rocket. It's a lovely starter, it really is. So into the pan, we're going to put some rapeseed oil, or you can use some of the Simply Better olive oil. I'm just using the rapeseed oil. We're going to put a little bit of butter and one small onion, which is finely diced. So this is going to go in here. So I want to try and get as much kind of vegetables, and you can bulk it up as much as you want for this recipe. We're going to put in these beautiful peppers here. So these are the grilled peppers. You see me using a lot of these these peppers in the recipes, and I just want to show you, this is an empty jar, but it's stored in extra virgin olive oil, so we're going to use that actually in the recipe too. It's delicious, so don't be throwing that out. We don't waste anything, and we're Cavan, you know that. Okay, let's just cook this off for a moment. It's really, really simple, really, really quick. So if you're stuck for time and you want to get something at the table, that's just one of the red peppers and one of the yellow peppers, a little bit of green there too. And I just literally just cut it. You can cut it smaller if you want to. You can use the full jar, it's totally up to you. I just had a couple left over in the jar, which I'm going to use. I love the flavour of them, and I love those peppers cooked with a little bit of lemon zest, olive oil, garlic, fresh basil, and it's gorgeous with scallops or prawns. They really are a beautiful product. Now, next thing we're going to do is put in our cherry tomatoes. So I got the vine ripened cherry tomatoes, just cut them in half. So they're going to go in there. So you just stir this all through. We're going to season this up now, and then we're going to put in some pesto. We're going to put in some lovely spinach, that's some sea salt I'm putting in, and a little bit of black pepper. I love black pepper. So this is the baby spinach. We're going to pop this in now, so we are, and we're going to wilt this. It's already pre-washed. Don't be taking those tiny little kind of stalks off, because they're delicious. Give it a little stir, and then just let that kind of wilt through there. Now, so I want to keep kind of the texture of the tomatoes. I don't want them going too soft, too mushy, because it needs to go into the oven for about 20-25 minutes. I already have one in there, so we'll come back to that in a moment. I want to talk to you about this beautiful tomato sauce. So this is the tomato and sweet garlic. So there's no added sugar. It's really good tomatoes. There's garlic in there. There's extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of sea salt. And it's one thing that I learned in Italy is the quality of the tomatoes. This is produced from a family run business near Puglia, which is near the heel of Italy, and that's where they get the most beautiful tomatoes. And one thing I learned is that Italy is so regional. Their food, like Italian food, you can see why it's the most cooked cuisine in the world. Look at the way the spinach is wilted. You could use leeks, you could use broccoli, you could mix it up. So I'm literally going to put the full jar, and like it's a very clean product. I love that word, clean. Now, see when there's a little bit left, I'm going to put a tiny little drop of water. Okay. Get the lid. No, my look at it go all over the place. Give it a little shake, and then pop that in there. I'm going to stir all this through. This is some of our fresh pesto. This is delicious. Even tossed with a little bit of those raviolis on their own, with any pasta. It's a super product. So a couple of spoonfuls of that. It's a fresh pesto, so it is. Stir this through, looking for my spoon, and then you just let this cook out for a moment. So we already have our salt and pepper in there, stirring through the pesto. We're not even going to blanch these off. These are going to go straight just into the actual pot, and then we're going to stir that through there. So that's the full packet of the buffalo milk ricotta raviolis. So they do a couple of different other varieties. If you want to, you can mix it up. Some are a little bit spicier, some of them have mushrooms in it, some of them truffle, but we tend to use these a lot, and I think they really are so tasty. Now, I'm just going to let this just kind of like warm through just for a moment. Kind of just separate, if you can, the raviolis. I suppose I should have done that before I threw it in. Just give that a little mix. And even like that is delicious. But we're going to bake it off in the oven in a moment. So we're going to use some of the Simply Better mozzarella. We're going to slice this. We're going to just cut it into small little pieces like this. So we're going to use an oven-proof dish. As I say, I have already one done. So I have this already done. I'm going to grate a little bit of parmesan. It's so simple, it really is. You could put butternut squash, you could put sweet potato, you can mix this up. I think that on its own just looks so nice with the tomatoes, the wilted spinach. You could put in some pak choy if you wanted to. And I'm just going to pop it into an oven-proof dish. I'll use my spatula for this. So the oven-proof dish, this is part of my cookware collection. We're just going to literally lift up the pot. Couldn't be easier. And then just literally kind of scrape all this in. So using the spatula, so you're not going to waste anything. So we cooked everything off in the skillet pan. Scrape all this. Yum. So move that out of the way. And then just kind of spread this out here. So you could put wild rocket. I have some rocket in the fridge. I could have put that in there. Just kind of mixing it up a little bit. We're nearly there. A little bit of mozzarella just on top. You could use some ricotta if you wanted to, or some of the lovely Simply Better burrata cheese, which is really gorgeous. A little touch of pesto to drizzle that all over. So we use plenty of this. I always have some of this in the fridge and it keeps really well. Look at that. Yum. And then grate some of this wonderful, this is our Simply Better, our lovely Parmesan cheese. It's a really, really lovely product. So it is. So 30 months matured. Just using my coarse grater, just literally grate that over. I'm going to put a little bit more black pepper and then it's going to go into the oven. It's as simple as that. So lots of that lovely Parmesan cheese. Oven is preheated at 180 and that's a fan oven. That's a fan oven I use for all my recipes. So that's preheated, so you can hear it going there. And you pop that in. Because it's warm, it'll probably take maybe 15-20 minutes. My one I had already pre-made and I just let it go cold and then just popped it into the oven, so that it's been in for the last 20-25 minutes. So a little bit of black pepper. So you can have this ready just on the side. Bake it off, as I say. I'm going to show you another one in the oven. We want to get the cheese kind of melted. I'll just do a little switch here and I'll show you what I mean. And the melt will just get a nice little shot of that. How good does that look, guys? I'm going to pop that in there. If you want to get a little bit of colour, you can flash it underneath the grill. I'm not worried about that. I'm just going to get a little bit of basil. Some beautiful fresh basil leaves. I love those basil plants. I tend to use them a lot, as you see in my videos. Oh, there's the dogs are here. They're looking to get in. So just a tiny little bit of that. And there we go. So that's my vegetarian lasagna, and I'm using this really, really good and delicious buffalo milk ricotta and spinach raviolis. That wonderful tomato sauce. It's such a clean product. It is made with the best Italian tomatoes. There's a little bit of onion, garlic in there, extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of salt, and then we have that lovely kind of layered with the spinach, the cherry tomatoes, that pesto, and then the mozzarella and the pesto. I think all the family will enjoy this. It's quick, absolutely delicious, and a real treat.